How to become instantly better at conversation. How to talk to someone. They leave your conversation thinking, oh my God, that was one of the best conversations I ever had. Oh my God, that person really cared about what I had to say. Oh my God, I have to do whatever it takes to be in that person's presence again. Now, conversation is a skill set that with just a little practice and a few notes from your boy that you're going to be able to master. And here is what you remember. If you remember this acronym, you will be the best conversationalist. You won't feel awkward in conversations anymore. People will get value out of your conversation, right? And they'll want to do business with you. So this, of course, this is the Entreprenudist podcast. And by the way, if you're listening to this via streaming, audio streaming app, always check the show notes and see if there's a accompanying video. Usually there is, sometimes there isn't, but usually there is. And if you want to see the video version of this, go there so you can see what's going on. But all right, so this is for, of course, entrepreneurs, because people do business with people that they like. Sometimes there is a monopoly. For example, for the most part, I think there are alternatives now, but for the most part, JEA, Jackson. I reside in Jacksonville, and Jacksonville Electrical Authority, those are the people who are doing electricity. So you have no option. You got to deal with them, regardless of their customer service, regardless of their prices, regardless of their convenience. That's the only game in town. Therefore, you got to deal with them. Other services, you have to deal with it. But for the most part, people have multiple options to choose instead of you. So you want to make you the best option. And, sometimes you have businesses that might want to partner up with you because they like being around you. And even if you're not an entrepreneur, even if you don't own a business, it's still good to be good at having conversation with people. Now, in order to be good at conversation, here it is. You got to understand that maybe at no point in this conversation will you ever get to talk about yourself. There is a chance, and a strong chance, at no point in this conversation will anybody ask you anything about yourself. But guess what? They're going to leave the conversation feeling good. You're not going to feel awkward. That was your main reason by looking for this video anyway, so you're going to know how to have good conversation and not feel awkward. So anyway, they're going to leave the conversation feeling great, wanting to interact and engage with you again in the future. You're not going to feel awkward throughout the conversation. Everybody wins. So when you remember this acronym, and this acronym is Ford, like the car, like the truck, Ford, F-O-R-D. Remember that acronym. And the F for Ford is for family. The O for Ford is for occupation. The R for Ford is for recess, recreation. And the D for Ford is in dreams. Your family. What's your family like? What's your occupation like? What's your recreation like? What you do on vacation? And what is all this for? What are your dreams? So that's Ford. Now, in order to keep the conversation going, you do what's called mirroring. And I can't remember where I learned Ford from, but I know I was listening to a podcast. But mirroring is a term from Chris Voss, FBI hostage negotiator, and tactical empathy. You're being empathetic to what the person is saying. That doesn't mean you're necessarily agreeing or disagreeing with what they had to say, but you say things in a way that lets them know that you heard them. And sometimes all people want to do is feel heard. So, for example, I'm talking to somebody. Hey, how you doing, man? And let's say I'm at a conference or something. Hey, all right. So what do you do? The person goes into what they do. Oh yeah, man, I'm an electrician. I've been doing it for 11 years. Mirroring. 11 years? All I did was repeat what they just said. 11 years, man. I started out as an apprentice, and I worked along with this company for about 7 years. And then about 3-4 years ago, I started out on my own. Started out on your own. Yeah, I started out on my own, man. It was hard at first. Now, keep in mind, whole time, all I'm doing is mirroring. But you'll see, you can literally have a conversation with somebody for 30 to 45 minutes, only mirroring, and the conversation will run smooth. They won't even realize that you're mirroring, and they will feel great. Now you're saying, that's cheating. You're not really having a conversation with somebody. All you're doing is repeating the last couple, 2 or 3 words that they're saying. But let me tell you this. This is something that you're not going to get until you actually start practicing this and doing it with people. The thing is, how many of you have been in a conversation with somebody and they forget what they were saying? Like, oh man, I forgot what I was saying. And you can't even remember what they were saying. Guess what that means? You weren't even paying attention. And guess what that means? To them, whatever they was talking about didn't really mean that much. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they got a bad memory, but for the most part, that's when they forgot what they were saying, and you had the opportunity to catch them up, and you didn't. All you did was confirm to them that you weren't paying attention at all. So what happens is when you mirror people, like when you're hanging on every word, and you're listening for the last 2 to 3 words to sum up what they said so they can keep going, what you'll find out is you're listening harder than you've ever listened before. Because I've had this happen multiple times where I've been mirroring somebody for about maybe 10, 15 minutes. And then they forget what they were saying, and I will catch them up from the beginning of the conversation to the end, just off mirroring. So boom, family, occupation, so they're telling me what they're doing. So you've been doing 11 years now. You've been, now you off on your own for the last 3 or 4 years, man. That must not leave a lot of time for your family, man. How what's your family think about you working all the time? Boom. Now they're getting into their family. Oh man, my family, man, they know what's going on, man. They know that I'm the main breadwinner of the family. You the main breadwinner? Yeah, I've been main breadwinner, man. I got 2 kids with this one lady. I got 1 kid over here, Josiah, man. He's gonna be a good football player. He's a good football player. Yeah, and then they're gonna start going into that, and then say, well, all right, so all right. That's cool. Your family, they allow you to work because they know you out there supporting, man. But when do you get to take a break, man? What do you do for vacation, man? Boom. Oh man, we going to Jamaica. We went to Jamaica last year. We loved it so much that we going to Jamaica again. You going to Jamaica again? Oh yeah, man. They had this, that, the third, boo, 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 and it's gonna keep going. It's gonna keep going. And once again, they've never asked me anything about myself yet. They haven't asked me anything, but if you understand what you're doing, you're okay with not getting to talk about yourself this time. There's a neighborhood cat. I ain't want to hit the neighborhood cat. All right, but once you realize what's going on, that you don't have to talk about yourself in every conversation, you're completely okay with not talking about yourself now. But don't forget dreams now. So we still going. We in minute 15, 20 of this conversation. Person has never asked me anything about myself, but they are completely enjoying this conversation. And I say, well, all right, man, you got your family, you doing good, all this work. You going to Jamaica. You love Jamaica. I think you like Jamaica for something else, but hey, you love Jamaica, right? But what is all this for, man? What's the goal, man? What's the end goal? What are your dreams? And then that's when it gets into that. So so you got the forward: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. You hitting them with the mirroring to keep the conversation going, and then you hit them with what's called tactical empathy. And tactical empathy is basically saying what you heard being said, but now you're summing it up. Doing it with looks like, sounds like, or seems like. Boom. They after while we're talking about the person's occupation, and they say that they've been doing this for the last 3 to 4 years on their own, and it seems like you made the right decision to strike out on your own. Yeah, I really do think I made the right decision to strike out on my own, man. Jamaica. When the person said him and his family went last year, now they're going again. I like, man, it looks like Jamaica is going to become like a family tradition for y'all. Yeah, I don't know yet, man. It's just the second time, but the family, the family, dude that said he had two kids over here, 1 kid over there. I said, man, sounds like you found a good way to co-parent, even though it's really a split up home. Yeah, man, I really had, it took some work, But we figured it out, now, the baby mamas get together, they cook together for the holidays and dreams. And what was the person's ultimate dream? The dream, hey, man, I really just want to leave a legacy for my kids. I really just want to leave a legacy. I say, looks like family is very important with you, and you doing this business is proving to them how important you think family is. Yeah, man, I'm hoping that when it's all said and done, that my family will really appreciate what I did for them. Now, keep in mind, this conversation probably ain't no telling how long this conversation lasted, because if you're using forward, if you're mirroring, if you're using tactical empathy, that conversation will go on forever. And guess what? These people may never ask you a question about yourself, but the way reciprocity works is the right people will ask you questions about yourself, right? And keep in mind, don't get lost in the sauce, because what's gonna happen is you're gonna get into your forward. You might just get to the F and the O, and then they're gonna ask you some questions about yourself, and you're gonna be tempted to take over this conversation. Now, keep in mind, the person who's asking the questions is the person that's running the conversation, but that's another conversation, right? But you're going to be tempted to start talking about yourself, verbal diarrhea, blah, blah, I'm this, I'm that, I did this, I did that. Resist the urge. Resist the urge. That's when you answer the question that they asked you sincerely, and then you get right back into it, asking them about themselves. Because guess what? You're looking for the next conversation. You're looking for the big deal. If you're an entrepreneur and the person that you're talking to is at a conference, somebody that is in the industry vertical that might benefit your industry, you want them to come to you. You want them to be intrigued by you. You want to remain a mystery, but them know the value that you bring. What most people remember about people, they don't remember exactly what was said. They remember how somebody made them feel. Be the person that made them feel good. My name is Randolph Love III. I help home and business owners avoid financial catastrophe and have the option of retiring comfortably in 10 to 15 years or less. You're listening to the Entreprenudist podcast, a place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. Tell your sister, tell your friends, tell all your kins to listen to the Entreprenudist podcast.